Good afternoon, everybody. This is the Home Handyman coming to you with some more information, I hope. Got a lot of questions on the forum, people that get mixed up with when it comes to measuring. Well, there's lots of ways you can measure. The easiest way, it depends on the project. If you want something very precise, or if you're doing something real rough, like when I built this patio cover, I would consider that rough. Things don't have to be absolute and exact, as opposed to building like something in cabinetry work. But I was at a friend's, we were around talking about, things that you can get from Harbor Freight and the dollar store and all this stuff, and it does save you a lot of money, but you have to be careful what you're buying. These tape measures, I'm going to show you one. Okay, that either came from Harbor Freight or the dollar store. I have a couple of them. The way I use them is I leave them usually in one of the vehicles in case I have to measure something when I'm out and about, but they are not accurate. They are so far off, some of them, it's incredible. So if you're going to use this for accuracy, you better check the accuracy on it. And so we'll move on to the better tape measures. This is a little Stanley. I got it real cheap off of, I don't remember, eBay, Amazon, something. It came with something else I was buying. Now Stanley makes accurate tape measures. So does Milwaukee, so do a lot of the other manufacturers. They make good ones. These little ones are mass produced overseas. The accuracy is just not there, okay? But I can use them for rough estimating and stuff like that. So when I want something more accurate, I have my Stanley and I have my Lufkin. Okay, now these are incredibly accurate tape measures, and I'll show you some tips and tricks you can do with these that some people don't know about. They just use them to quickly measure, cut, and on and off they go. But these are two good ones. I use these a large majority of the time in anything I'm doing in the shop. Now, I don't know what you want to call this, but I use this. This is a long tape measure. This will go 100 feet. I have another one that will go almost 200 feet. So if I'm doing like a wall, or I'm building something outside that's real long, this comes in real handy. It has like a gator hook clamp here on the tip, so I can stretch it way out. And when I'm done, there's a little handle on the side. You can reel it up, shut it, and put it away. But I use this on large projects. In the shop, which I'm doing mostly nowadays, I use the other tape measures. At Home Depot, you can pick up these yardsticks. There again, this is another rough estimating tool. I can screw this down to a workbench, slide stock up to it, mark it, and go on about my way if I'm doing signs or I'm doing things that don't have to be perfectly exact. Now, the last thing I'm going to show you, and then we'll get into some tips on things. I bought framing square. Well, I call it a framing square. It's not a speed square. A speed square doesn't have this part. It's just a 90 here. And I'll show you a couple of those in a minute. I use some real antique-y looking ones, and they're real good. But I bought this one. It's an Irwin. I got it from Amazon Warehouse Deals, and I got my free shipping. And I got it about 10 bucks, $10, $12, somewhere in there. Now, I had bought one of these out at Harbor Freight. I took it back. The thing is absolute junk. It is not square this way. It's got so much slop and play in this thing. I don't know how the hell you need another square to get this square to use it. It's worthless. But there are things that you get at Harbor Freight that are very adequate and they're good to use. This just doesn't happen to be one of them, so don't buy it. So I'm going to show you the Carpenter squares that I use. They're old time, but they work perfectly fine. One moment. Okay, this is a large Carpenter square. Okay, this works really good for panel and for 4x8 sheets. You can set it up to a factory edge, draw a straight line, and come off the other side, and I know that it's square. So this is a real good one. Now, they make lots of fancy new ones, but I have two little ones. Just like this. I can quickly grab this off my bench, whether it's 2x4, 2x6, 2x8s, 12s, whatever, and I can quickly mark a nice factory straight, well, not factory, I come off the factory edge and make a perfectly straight line is what I'm trying to say. These work great. I got these for almost nothing, and they work fantastic. So I call them Carpenter squares. If you call them something else, you can tell me in the comments below. Okay, so let's pause. I'm going to set up. I'll show you some things that you can do with the tape measure. Might help you out in the workshop. Okay, let's talk about just the tape measures themselves between the Stanley and the Lufkin. Okay, these I use a lot. I've learned to do different things with them from the internet. So I thought I'd make a video and show you some of them. Now, on those Harbor Freight ones I showed you and the tips on these, there's a difference. Right here, I have no play in this tip. On the Harbor Freight ones you do. That will throw your accuracy off when measuring. There's a lot of slop there. Stanley and the top end tape measures, they account for that slop, whatever it is. If it's a 16th or whatever, it's accounted for in the rest of the measuring. So these are incredibly accurate tape measures. I had a friend of mine, he got done using it and he let out all the tape, and then, he washed it with water and wiped it down and thought, hey, this is a good way to take care of the tape measure. No, it's not, okay? It is not. Try not to get it wet. Try to keep it dry all the time as much as you can. If you do get it wet, dry the daylights out of it. Once moisture gets inside of these, you'll ruin it very rapidly. Now, there's a trick that when I was building the patio that I did quite a bit, I used a nail, okay? And I'm going to pan down and show you in a minute. But if I was alone and I didn't have anybody to hold the tape measure for me, it's like, well, what are you going to do? So I'm going to pan down and show you a little trick. So say this board's real long right here, and I want to measure from here all the way down the board to the end. I can take a nail, drop it in there, and on the end of this tape measure right here, there's a little cutout. Well, that's what it's meant for, really, is I can hook my nail into here. I can pull the tape measure now all the way down to where I need to measure, and I know that this is absolute and it's holding nicely. And then I can measure it, and I can let go, and it's got the self-retracting button on here. Okay, you can also take, had a friend, he worries about how to make arcs on wood. Okay, so let me show you another trick. If you take and you figure out where your starting point is, like where the middle of the arc, like let's say, well, it'll be, I don't know, like right here. It doesn't matter to demonstrate. Here we put it into the nail head again. Here it is right here. I'm holding it at 3. And I'm just going to go like this. So I'm going to trace it all the way like that. And what you end up with is you end up with an arc. You can make this, say, well, that's too big. We'll come back and do it again and then sand it. But you can create an arc that way, however you want. It works real well, and you can do it quickly, and you don't have to do a lot of measuring. Somebody on the forum said, well, I'm no good at math, I'm no good at subtracting fractions and measurements and whatever, and I said, well, you just have to figure out another way to do it, or you have to practice while you're measuring. So anyway, that's a way to make an arc. So now let me show you another little trick. Has nothing to do with the tape measure, but sometimes you want, like, let's say a 1/4 inch edge all the way around this. And you go around and you mark it and you use your ruler and all that stuff, and that's fine. If it's not critical, let's say I'm doing a sign, and I know I've already made a mark, let's say right here, and whatever that is, I can take my fingers and keep them real tight and hold it on that mark and just go like this. There we go, okay? And that mark will be the same distance as long as you hold your fingers tight, and you can go with the same mark and you can just go like this and go right on down the board all the way around it. That's a rapid way for me to create a bordering on a sign or something that's not a critical measurement. So save you a little bit of time, a little bit of measuring, okay? All right, let me move on here. See what else I wrote down that I wanted to mention. These tape measures, I was going to tell you, like let's say I have something that's vertical right here and I can't measure it any other way. The base of this right here is 3 inches. So if I set this up against there and I wanted to measure right here to the end, and I say, well, gee, how long is that? Well, I'm at 11, right? And 3 is 14. And look at that right here. Look. And it is 14 within a 16th or less. So again, these tape measures, the better ones that you buy, have incredible accuracy in the manufacturing. There are a lot of good ones out there. I'm not criticizing the others. These are the two that I use. I know that they're incredibly accurate. There's nothing wrong with Milwaukee. There's nothing wrong with Cobalt. I mean, a lot of these people that make them, there's nothing wrong with that stuff. I just don't own them. Okay, now, the one thing that I like about this Lufkin and the Stanley, they're very, very rigid here, okay? Let's see how far I can extend this before it buckles and bends on me. Right here is 7 feet and it's still rigid. Here's 8 feet and I'm still fairly rigid. Okay, somewhere close to 9 feet this thing finally buckled and bent over. Try that with some of these other tape measures. You'll be surprised. Now that doesn't mean that that's something that I need, but it just tells you the strength in the material and the spring metal that they're using is there. It's nice. Let's say you're measuring something, you're not, like you said, like I told a friend of mine, you're not super good at math or whatever, and you say, what's half of something? And so then you go, well, some things you can do in your head, some things that you can't. So let's say this is a great big long board, and let's say it ends somewhere way down the line, and I'm just going to shorten this for the demonstration here. If you take the tape measure and you bend it, you hold your finger where the measurement ended, bring this back around to that mark, you can take a look here at the tip, okay, and right at the crown, that's half. Okay, you'll be down close. Okay, it's not going to be exact, but you will be down close. Now, I've done this before, but I've also turned around and said, okay, that says it's half. I'm going to lay it out because it says half of it was like 7 or 7 1/4, and it's okay. Well, this is actually 14. So, within a 16th, within an 1/8, just visually looking at the bend right here, within about an 1/8 or a 16th, that's half. Then, like I said, then double check your measurement the other way. I always measure everything twice. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I don't measure once and cut. It's an old adage, measure twice, cut once. Sometimes I measure 3, 4, 5 times. It depends on what I'm building, because I don't want to scrap out the wood. If you cut it too short, you're screwed. So sometimes I repeatedly measure, think about it, measure it, think about it, measure it, play around, and eventually I cut it. I've cut enough things in the past where I've been in a rush and screwed them up. So never use 2 different tapes on a project that you think is a critical project. Okay, like this one right here, I've never done this on these 2 better tape measures, but we'll try it. This says 14 and a 16th, okay, on the left one. Okay, the Lufkin said 14 and 1/16. My Stanley shows it to be 14 dead on. Okay, now both of these are great in terms of their quality of manufacturing, okay, like I keep telling you, but there is that little tiny difference. If you're doing cabinetry work or inlay work or anything that is very, very important in terms of measurement, stay with the same measuring tape. Stay with the same one. Don't change them, okay? That way your measurements will all be consistent, your project will come out right. Now another thing you can use these for, and I've done this, I had a wire in the bottom of a drywall wall, and I'm bringing it all the way up the wall to make an outlet and plug a TV into it on a hanging bracket, but I didn't want cords showing, so I wanted to bring it up the wall. So the cord's way down at the bottom, so I cut a hole in the top where the box was going to go, and right here you still got that little cutout like I showed you. This becomes a fish tape. Fish it all the way down the wall, hook your wire up on this end, and with that retracting button, you can start to bring it up to the hole where you're at. So it works like a fish tape without having to go out and buy one, okay? So that's a nice advantage right there. One other thing you can do, I got it off of the web and then I'm gonna wrap this up, is you can get those rare earth magnets real cheap, the little round ones. I know the dollar store sells them, I know Harbor Freight's got them, everybody's got them. I got a pack laying around somewhere. Take a little rare earth magnet and put it here, because this is steel. And remember, I said this thing's rigid up to 8 feet. You can use it for a pickup tool. You can reach down into something in the engine of a car where you're working, grab it. You can't pull up anything super heavy, But nuts and bolts and things like that, you can reach down and boom, you got it. And then it's got the self-retracting, up comes your bolt. So it makes a nice little retracting tool if you want, and you just take the magnet off of it. Okay, I kind of went through this fast, not a long intro. I guess I'm trying to keep my videos to not doing that. Okay, I hope this concludes a lot of the questions that were asked in terms of measuring tapes, measuring devices. I don't have a lot of specialty measuring devices because I can always figure out a way to make what I have work without running out and buying new tools all the time. You know, you just got to put some thought into it, read, see what other people are doing, put your thoughts to your hands, and then go ahead and see what happens. Try it. Okay, so you got tape measures. Now you got a few things that you can think of to use and how to use them, and maybe next time you go out in the shop, you'll try them. Try different things. Read, see what other people are doing. Okay, I cut the intro on this short. I don't do long intros. You folks have a good day. I will see you soon. We'll pick another topic, and thank you. Bye-bye.